Hello everybody, welcome to Larry Under Pressure. I'm Larry and today I have a great holiday side dish. A lot of people don't like Brussels sprouts and it seems like either you really like them or you really don't like them. I do like them, but I found a recipe that's especially good, and I think a lot of people that even don't like Brussels sprouts like this recipe. Besides that, last night I was at Trader Joe's and I found this incredible stalk of Brussels sprouts while I was there, and with the help of a really cool cashier was able to buy them and got them in the car and got them home. So we're going to use those to fix this dish. It's a good dish that adds a lot of color and vibrancy to your holiday table and makes a good side dish that you'll enjoy all year round if you like. So let's get started with it, and we'll get started with the prep and then we'll cook it. All of our cooking today is going to be done in the air fryer, so most all of you have air fryers. I'm going to be using a Ninja double air fryer where I can cook two things at one time, but it can be done just as well in a single air fryer. It'll just take a little bit more time. So let's get started. There are not a lot of items in this recipe, but there are a couple of them we've got to get ready before we actually bake the Brussels sprouts. One of them is 4 slices of bacon. We're going to cut that up and cook it in the air fryer and brown it. The next item are half of pecans, and we're going to toast those in the air fryer as well. We also have some dried cranberries, and we'll not add those until everything else is cooked. A little olive oil, salt, pepper, and that's it. At the end of this video, I'm going to make a balsamic reduction sauce to pour over it that I think adds a lot of flavor to it. And I'll do that online too, so you'll be able to see how it works. So first of all, let's get our 4 slices of bacon, and we're going to cut them into kind of bite-sized pieces here in this glass bowl. And we don't have to even break them up or anything else. Just cut them up, and everything will take care of itself once they get heated in the air fryer. So let's cut them into pieces and get them in there. The bacon always smells so good when you do it in the air fryer too. It'll add a lot of good scents to the house. Those are all cut up, as you can see. We're going to put them in the air fryer and cook them. I do them in a glass dish so that they don't mess up the air fryer and I don't have to clean it. I can just put the glass dish right in the dishwasher when I'm done. I'm going to put the air fryer on air fry at 350 for 10 minutes. And we'll get started. The bacon's cooking. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to brown the pecans. And you have to be real careful with pecans. If you overcook them, they get bitter. But if you cook them just the right way and just barely brown them, they develop a real nice taste that adds to your dish. So we're going to put the pecans in the air fryer. We're going to put it on air fry as well at 350 for 5 minutes. And we'll check them at the end of 5. We've got the bacon, we've got the pecans in, and everything's cooking, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. 5 minutes is up on the pecans. Let's see what they look like. I did stir them off camera about halfway through, and they look perfect. They're done, so let's get them out, and we'll let them sit out and cool. And we'll let the bacon continue on. Stir it up just a little bit. It's looking real good. Stir it up so that it's not all stuck together. And we'll let it continue cooking. It has about 3.5 minutes left to go, and we'll see how it looks. We may need to cook it a little bit longer, but we'll give it a chance. Our 10 minutes has finished. Let's take a look at them and see. They don't look quite done enough to me. If there's anything we don't want is limp, half-cooked bacon in our Brussels sprouts. We want it crispy where you'll get a crunch out of them. So let's put it back on for another 3 minutes on 350. This bacon should be ready now. It's perfect. It's cooked now in the air fryer for a total of 15 minutes on 350 on air fry, and it's ready to go. So we'll get it out of the air fryer and move it over to our prep area where we can get it on a plate to drain. You can see the bacon's cooked and crisp and ready to go, so we're going to move it from this onto a paper towel so it can drain and get real nice and crispy. And then before we put it in the Brussels sprout dish itself, we'll kind of break it up a little bit more so there are smaller pieces. But that's cooked just exactly the way you want it. Okay, let's move to our next step. Now we're going to prep the Brussels sprouts. I'm going to start by cutting them off of the stalk. If you buy them in a bag, you won't have to do that step because they'll already be cut. And I'm not going to do them all on camera because clearly you can figure out how to do that. But I'm going to take off 3 or 4, and then I'll get the rest of them that we need off the stalk off camera to save time. I didn't use that whole stalk of Brussels sprouts. That's a lot of sprouts on that sprout on the stalk, more than it looked. So here they are. I've got the whole Brussels sprouts here, and we need to half them. But let me show you a little trick I learned a long time ago. If you cut down to get this end off, that can sometimes be a little bit bitter. If you go real deep, you're going to have a lot of wasted leaves that come off. So if you'll just cut shallow and get just the tip of it off, then you'll have better luck and we'll lose a whole lot less to waste. So get the tip off, cut these in half, and they're ready to go. They're ready to cook. So we'll put them in the pot here and get ready to get them in the air fryer after we oil, salt, and pepper them. And I'll do the rest of these prep off camera so as not to waste so much time. I've got them prepped. I cut them off the stalks, trimmed the ends, and trimmed off any old looking leaves on the outside. They're very fresh, so it didn't take much. But they're ready to prep. So now I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of olive oil and a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of fresh ground pepper into the Brussels sprouts and mix them up before I put them in the air fryer. Make sure they're all nice and coated and have some of the oil on them. They'll brown a lot nicer. I weighed these while I was off camera so I could tell you that there's almost exactly a pound in here. That's what I'm cooking. I think you could probably go up to 1.5 pounds and it would work just fine if you needed more, but I don't need a big dish. So there's 1 pound of them. They're prepped, they're oiled, they're salt and peppered. Let's get them in the air fryer and get them cooking. I have not preheated the air fryer because I find that usually it's not necessary. So let's go ahead and put the Brussels sprouts into the cold air fryer. Well, there may be a little residual heat left from where I did the bacon and the nuts. But we're going to even those all out. We're going to turn on the air fryer air fry. We're going to go 350 for 20 minutes. And we'll check it after 10 because it's probably going to need to be stirred up. So let's get started. I'll be back at 10 and we'll check them out. We're at 10 minutes now, so let's pause and go in and stir them up. Yeah, they're beginning to brown and crisp on the edges. That's the way we want them. They're not burning. The brown crisp edges make the skins on them real sweet and tender when you eat them. So we're going to mix them up, give them a good stir, put them back on for another 10 minutes. We've moved the sprouts to a bowl so we can finish mixing everything together, and I'm going to tear the bacon into smaller pieces by hand rather than trying to cut it up. It's easier and it probably is a better idea. So we're going to tear those up. Then we're going to put in our cranberries. And the cranberries you can put right in out of the bag. They're dried cranberries if you want to. I like them a little bit more moist than what they come out of the bag. So what I did is, while I was off camera, I soaked them in boiling water for about 10 minutes so they would moisten up, and they should be good to go. Let's finish putting this in here, and as I said, we're not going to put the pecans in, but we are going to go ahead and put the cranberries in. And give it a nice stir. Wow, it looks like Christmas, doesn't it, with the reds, the greens, and all the beautiful colors. I'll say one thing, the last video I did before this one, I fixed baked apples in the slow cooker, and they smelled really good, but you all know as well as I do, the Brussels sprouts, they don't smell quite like the apples did. They'll be good, and they smell just like they're supposed to, but they don't smell like apples. I'm going to plate these up, and I'll be back, and we'll take a taste. I'm real pleased with the way these have come out. They look great. I put the pecans on top and have them plated, and we're going to take a taste of them. Let's get some Brussels sprout, some bacon, and some cranberry. Oh wow. That's probably the best Brussels sprouts I've ever had. I better have one more. I highly recommend these. I'll leave the instructions and ingredients and everything else below. If you like these and they taste good to you and you enjoy this recipe or any of the recipes I fixed, I'd ask you to please, down below this screen, to like, subscribe, and share these. It really helps my page and it helps my videos get out to more people that way. I appreciate it. Next, if you'll hang in there, I'm going to show you how to do the balsamic vinaigrette that we're going to put on these. It's a reduction. We'll have to do it in a pot, and we'll do it here in just a minute, and I'll show you how it's done. If you don't want to wait for that, then have a nice evening. Now that we've finished the Brussels sprout recipe, let's work on the balsamic vinegar reduction. That'll be an incredible sauce to pour or drizzle over the top of the dish that we fixed in the previous part of this video. For this reduction, we're going to start with about 3/4 of a cup of balsamic vinegar and pour it in a saucepan and start heating it. There's about 3/4 of a cup ready to go. We're going to pour it in. And we're going to turn the burner on medium. I'm using an induction stove, but you can use a regular conventional stove or a gas flame or any other flame that you like, any other type of heat that you like. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a heaping tablespoonful of light brown sugar and stir that well. Get it nice and stirred and the sugar dissolved. And let it heat. We're going to let it heat for just a while till it gets good and warm. Then we're going to stir it about every 2 or 3 minutes because we don't want it to stick. This has been boiling now for a total of about 15 minutes and on medium, and it's beginning to get thick. As you see, as I pull through, it leaves a wake. That's what you want. So we're going to let it boil for about another 5 minutes. And keep in mind, whatever the thickness or the viscosity of this is when you finish here in the pot, as it cools, it's going to get thicker. And you want it ultimately to be kind of a syrupy texture. So we're getting there. We're going to let it boil for about another 3 or 4 minutes and check it one last time. And if it's done, we'll call it quits. You can see now that the bubbles show that the sauce is real thick, and as you draw the spoon through, it leaves a wake for the width of the pot, which is a total reflection that it's done. So I'm going to turn it off. We're going to let it sit and cool for just a few minutes. We'll check back and see what it looks like when it's cool, and then we'll wrap this video up. So stay tuned. Our balsamic vinegar reduction is complete. It's cool, and you can see how thick it is now. It's syrupy, and that's exactly what we wanted, somewhere kind of syrupy or like honey. And it's thick enough that you can pour and it'll coat whatever you're putting it on, and it'll add an incredible flavor and improve the flavor profile of anything that you put it on. Give it a try and see what you think. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and share it. And there's a recipe written down below this video in the bottom part of the screen. So take a look, give it a try, and leave comments letting me know what you think of it. Thank you, and thank you for visiting Larry Under Pressure.